10 minutes is all you're gonna need to create this glowy, polished, age-defying look that actually works after 40. There's no 30-step routine here. There's no trending products. This is just about products that actually work and a technique that works within 10 minutes. If you're new here, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nina Ubhi. I'm a professional makeup artist and an educator, and on this channel, you learn all about real beauty. Today's video is all about the kind of woman who wants to know how to look fresh, radiant, and lifted in a very short space of time. You don't want to spend your entire morning doing your face. Whether you are rushing for a school drop-off, or you are rushing for your meeting at work, you're just generally late, which sometimes does happen to me, then this is for you. I've been doing this for quite a while. I am 45 years old and I absolutely love this routine because it's something that's really quick and easy. And the products that I'm going to be showing you today are the products that I rely on to be able to give me this look. This isn't just about using any products within these 10 minutes. This is not just about the technique. This is also about the products I'm using. And the reason being is because they work so well for this type of routine. There are some products that I find with certain time frames or techniques take a little bit longer. So that's what I mean. It's not just necessarily about the fact that I think this brand is great or anything, or these brands that I'm going to be using are great. It's just that these products work so well. So I'm not trying to favoritize or pick any particular one. And if you've been a loyal subscriber of this channel, you will know that I do use these a lot because I genuinely do love them because they work so well. So some of you won't be surprised at some of the products that I'm going to be using, and some of you may, if you are new, like wonder how I'm going to create this look with these. I just know for a fact that this new 10-minute routine is going to be your like savior on those days when you're running late. I know for a fact it is because it's such a good routine. And if you have mature skin and you're in your 40s like me, then you know the challenges that we face. Like, skin tends to be a little bit drier. It doesn't mean we don't deal with the breakouts and all those things. We're lucky enough to have to deal with all of that and the dryness sometimes. So I totally get it, and your skin can kind of like just be in a whole other universe sometimes. It just feels like it's completely off. So let's get on with this. I'm going to put the timer on because why not? We haven't done a timer for a while, have we? Do you remember when we used to do those videos, guys? The ones that have been here. The day ones are going to remember this. They're going to remember those timer days when we used to like do these videos where it was like makeup in 15 minutes, makeup in 10 minutes. And it was always stressful, I remember. So let's see if I stress out as much. Like, even though I know what I'm doing and I know I can do it in 10 minutes, I just generally get stressed out with a timer on. So it really gives me like, it really makes me anxious. So let's get the timer ready. Let me take a deep breath and just, you know, be ready for this. Okay, so I'm kind of ready. Do I know what I'm doing? I haven't necessarily got everything out in front of me because I don't think that's fair. I'm just scanning my place so that I know. So yeah, okay. Nothing on my face, by the way. Let's get started with 10 minutes now. Okay, first thing I am going to do is spray my face. This gives me extra hydration. That's my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush setting spray. I feel like that just gives me a little bit of extra hydration. This is my eye cream. This is my MAC one. So I just smooth this over. By the time I've done that, the spray is dry. I can put my SPF on. Skin prep is so important through this entire routine, or through any routine. Like, 10 minutes does not mean that I'm gonna skip my skincare. You know what I mean? Like, that is not gonna happen. So there you go. SPF is on. In the meantime, I'm going to very quickly just hydrate my lips while that's setting. That's my dual one. My dual one. See, this is what happens. Like, I just forget the words, the names. My dual lip maximizer. I'm just going to blot that because I put a little bit too much on. Okay, so now we're going to put the moisturizer on. This is my Pecan Keto Cream. My current moisturizer. And I'm just pressing that in. That's it. That is done. Now, next step is we are going to get our concealer. Now, the concealer I'm using is my Too Faced Born This Way Natural Beige. And I've got this on the back of my hand. First thing I'm going to do is get my damp sponge, and I'm just going to get this over the lids. I would honestly recommend you to just get the lids out of the way And the reason I'm using this concealer is it's such a great concealer for over 40s. Like, it really does keep your skin hydrated. It's not drying, so you're not going to find that horrible kind of, you know, tightness that you get with some concealers and that dryness. Now I've got my powder puff and my powder, and I'm just going to press onto my lids. This is the place that I always do press onto no matter what, because it does crease there very easily. There you go. Eyelids are done. And now, because the eyelids are done, we don't have to worry about that section. And our skin is settled down, ready for the next step. So I've got my Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturiser in Palomino 3W. This is the natural dewy one, by the way. And I've got my 106 brush from BK Beauty, which you can get a discount code for, which is Nina10. So make sure you use that. So now we're just going to brush this over the whole face. One of my favourite base products. It's so good. It's so natural on the skin, but it does give you coverage, so it's not like you're not going to get any coverage with this. I didn't put enough on my hand. Okay, so really get it into the brush first though. I would really recommend that, because you're gonna get a really nice even finish that way. There you go. So you can see we've got this nice layer on the skin now. And it's pretty amazing what it does. Like, look at that. I love that. Okay, now that we've done that, we are going to get our concealer. And this is where we're going to go onto our skin here. So we're just going to get a little bit here. And a little lift there. And I do like to add a little bit here because I get a bit of darkness there. Then get your beauty blender. Kind of keeping it in the same place, but you're just buffing it. And you really do need a small amount of this. And it's such a great concealer. And it doesn't dry your skin, and it's just one of my favourites for if you are dealing with aging skin. There you go. See what I mean? You get this really nice finish. And I feel like these are the main areas you need it. If you feel that afterwards you're like, yeah, but I think there's other places that I would have applied it, you can always go back and do that if you want to. But I'm quite happy with this. I'm really happy with the way this is. Now you want to make sure that there isn't any kind of like creasing anywhere. But before I actually do go on, I am going to put a blush on, which I will do now. And let's use this. This is Papaya Pop. This is a Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil. And my Hourglass 15 brush. Let me just dab this on a tissue first. You really don't even need to rub, like really buff this in properly. It's just very lightly, and that's what I love about this blush. It sits really nicely on top of your foundation if you do it after. So that's that, and I just want to get my sponge and just go over this bit here because I don't want too much blush there. Okay, now at this point I feel like I can set this. So what we're going to do is make sure there is no creasing. Let's check the time. Oh wow, 4 minutes. Okay. I always press the powder here just because that way it stays put all day, and then I dust it off more or less straight away. Like that. Then I get a big brush, dip it in my powder. I go over the face. And by brushing it, you're not going to have that dryness. Now, very quickly, let's get these brows done. I've got my Benefit Precisely My Brow pencil, and I'm literally just filling them where I need them. I don't actually need a lot, I only want a little bit. There you go, I'm happy with that. It's only really from the underside that I need to kind of shape my brows. But this is the area that I tend to take the longest on. And I usually have to kind of really stop myself. Okay, let's stop. Okay, so then let's go here. That's my lip liner that I'm really loving at the moment. I'm doing everything back to front right now. It doesn't really matter what order you do things in once you've done your base. But I don't always put mascara on, by the way. This is my Givenchy Peachy lip gloss, which I absolutely love. Okay, next up, let's just very quickly add a little bit of bronzer, because this actually makes such a difference. Like finishing your face, wow. It gives you that polished look that you didn't realize makes such a big difference. Right, a little bit of mascara. Now this is the part where I don't want you to go crazy with it, because you actually don't need to, because I feel like a lot of people think they need to keep layering. Sometimes you want to kind of pull away quicker than you usually would, because it doesn't take a lot to actually make them kind of pop. So you don't need a lot. See, that's enough. And I think that's actually pretty nice when you do it like that, when it's not actually so much. But we can, yeah, I think we're done. We are done. Oh, wow. We're done. Okay, so there you go. As you can see, a nice polished, glowy look. Everything looks clean. Everything looks kind of like very slightly glowy because we didn't really put a lot of powder on. The main areas that we put the powder was on the eyelids to really make sure that they don't go anywhere all day and they don't crease. And also on the under eyes where we really pressed it in, and that's not going to crease throughout the day. The rest of the face, we very lightly dusted it on, which means that natural kind of like radiance still comes through. And then obviously there are other things that you can add, like you can add a bit of like kind of highlight, or if you want, you know, if you feel like you've got a little bit overboard with the powder, then you can spray the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush setting spray again, and that's just going to basically kind of like make everything, the powder kind of melt into the skin so that everything looks a little bit more lived in. That is basically the 10-minute routine. Let me just get rid of all this makeup I've got on the back of my hand. Like I said, it's not really a case of you having to use kind of so many different products. I feel like it is about just picking products that are really easy to use but also deliver. So just bear that in mind. I think that's actually the best way to look at it. The best products to use when you only have 10 minutes are good products that deliver but that are very easy to use. Now I just want to add that I do have a online publication, a newsletter, which is great if you are enjoying this type of kind of like beauty information or tips and tricks. Head on over. It's called the Beauty Breakfast Club, and it's a community which is all about beauty, and it's growing so rapidly, and I'd love to see you over there. It is free to subscribe, and there is a paid version which gives you access to the entire site, plus you get to join the group chat, which is really good, and it's growing. There are like so many people on there. There's like so many people, honestly, and it's so nice because we're all kind of like helping each other. I'm on there too, so obviously if you have any questions, I'll be there for you. Just give me a couple of days to reply because it can get quite hectic with my work, but I do reply. And I'm really excited to see you over there, so make sure you join. And the paid version, by the way, is literally, it's like getting yourself one coffee a month. That's it. It's going to be the best money you spend in a month for what you get, trust me. So I would really like to see you over there. Let me just go through these products with you because I feel like I didn't really talk through them because obviously I was on timer and I was under stress. So first thing we did was spray our face with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush setting spray. So that's there to just kind of like almost kind of give your skin that hydration before you even get started, because when you've washed your face and then you let it dry, it can sometimes, especially when you are in your 40s, it goes tight quite quickly, and my face had. So this helps to just kind of like soften it up a bit more. We then went in with our SPF, which is the Dalba UV Essence Waterful SPF 50, which I'm absolutely loving. It's so good. Then I also did apply my MAC Hyper Real eye cream, which is a good eye cream. And then I finished off with my moisturizer. Now I know that I always say, and I truly believe, you should leave a gap between applying your skincare. I don't know if you noticed, but obviously if you have 10 minutes and you're in a rush, I've got to be realistic with you. Like, I'm not going to say to you, no, you still have to leave that gap. Like, I understand that those days happen where you just don't have the time. And if that is the case, like this 10-minute routine, then what I suggest you do is you try and be very strategic. So for example, I sprayed my face, I put my eye cream on so that I gave that time to dry down. I then put my SPF on. Now immediately after my SPF, I more or less did put my moisturizer, but what I made sure is with my SPF, I really rubbed it in. And with my moisturizer, I pressed it in so that I'm not mixing everything together. So I'm just being a bit clever about it. I then moved on and I applied the concealer to my eyes. Now, the reason I did that as well is because that allows my skincare to settle down, ready for me to put my base on. So you're kind of like being very, very clever about like where you're giving it that time, and you're also getting something else done at the same time. Now the concealer I used was a Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer in natural beige. It's a great concealer, and it is something that I think is a must-have for anyone in their 40s because it doesn't dry so quickly, it isn't cakey, and it stays hydrating, and it is actually quite a hydrating concealer. I then did use my Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturiser, the natural dewy one in 3W Palomino. A great tinted moisturiser. I just feel like it's one of my favourites. I don't think I could live without that. It is such a good lightweight moisturiser that you are getting extra moisture from because you're over 40 and you need that extra hydration, but at the same time, it's actually like your skin looks good, which is what I love about it. And it is lightweight. Then we've also got our lip product, which I can't remember what this is called, but I'm sure I will put it on the screen. This is my Givenchy lip gloss. It might be the Prism one, I can't remember, but it's a really nice peachy tone, and I can't even see because my eyesight's so bad. But it's a really nice one, and I always get compliments on this. And I do blot it because I don't like it to be too shiny. Now the powder that I did use was my Huda Beauty Easy Bake in Banana Bread. And then the bronzer was my Fenty Private Island Sunstalker. And then I had my Dior Over Volume Mascara. And then I had my lash curlers, which obviously are my Kevyn Aucoin. And then my brow pencil, which was my Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. And I also had my MAC lip pencil, which was Cool Spice. And then obviously the brushes are my Real Techniques setting brush, the Hourglass Veil brush, the Hourglass 15 brush. I think those were the main brushes that I used, only 3 brushes. So honestly, it's a limited amount of products, really, compared to what I would normally use, but it gives you this finish, and I just love that you can still create a look like this and look polished and look radiant, and you didn't actually spend a lot of time on it. And like I said, there are things that you can do after if you want to soften the kind of dryness of it. Like for example, if you think it's a little bit too matte, then you can spray it over with the Charlotte Tilbury, or like to be honest, any hydrating spray you can spray on top, and it's going to really soften the powdery look if you have gone a little bit overboard with the powder. I hope you've also seen that the cream blush that I use is a really good option if you are layering it on top of foundation. This is actually one of my favorites to put on top because it doesn't kind of take away what's underneath. Now, let me explain that very quickly because it does happen. Now, I personally love using a cream or liquid blush more so, underneath foundation, because what happens if you put a liquid blush on top of foundation is sometimes it can take off the foundation and you end up with this kind of weird patch which looks like there's color there, the blush, but it also has kind of taken off the foundation, so it doesn't look even. Now with this cream blush, I feel that it's really good to apply this over foundation because it doesn't take anything off and it sits on top. So just bear that in mind. So I hope you've enjoyed this today, and this is something that I just wanted to share with you because I feel like I haven't done like a quick 10-minute video for you like for a long time now. And I do know that a lot of us over 40, we have things that we're doing, we're busy, we've got a lot going on. I'm not saying that any other age doesn't, but it's a different type of skin we're dealing with. And it's really important to understand how to deal with it and how to make the most of it in a short space of time. So I really hope that's helped you. Now, please do like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button, because those 3 little things don't cost you a thing, but they actually make a massive difference to my channel, and I would really appreciate it if you feel like you've got anything from this video. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and also don't forget that everything is listed in my description along with any discount codes. I will see you on the next video.